Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and we're going to be doing an online battle. This is going to be an interesting sort of scenario battle. Battle Brandywine Creek, so it's supposed to take place on 9/11, September the 11th, in 1774, however. And it's going to be the British force led by General Howe, so we can actually go ahead and see him over here. There's the general's unit. And he's going to be fighting the Continental Army of the United States. And so you don't really get to choose your units, and you don't really choose their starting deployment. So my enemy, the Continental Force, is actually going to be given a bunch of artillery in a nice, very defensive position. I was not very happy about that. So take a look at this. They have artillery station crest, hidden by the hills. Then they have light infantry units here, 3 line infantry, 3 line infantry, so total 6 line infantry, and 4 artillery batteries. Each of the artillery batteries is going to have 4 guns. That is not going well for me. We'll actually go ahead and look at my composition in a little bit. And then over here in the back is going to be General George Washington himself. He actually, however, has the same character model as General Howe. So kind of interesting. Too bad. And then some Minutemen back in the town. Now there are a couple units of the enemy in the outskirts that I'm starting to scout out. So I actually have an expeditionary force over here. If you've ever seen The Patriot, it kind of reminded me of the Nemesis in that movie. The evil guy who basically has the lead of the cavalry, and he goes rampaging around with his cav and kind of goes off the reserve and kills a bunch of the colonials. It makes them overall very pissed, and it's the one Mel Gibson has basically the fight with throughout the movie. But anyways, they're going to be doing what they do, which is scouting around, picking off long rifles who are at the sort of extreme range. They were trying to guard this pass, and so I have light dragoons and then 2 of these regiment horse, and they're going to be going around in the woods scouting and cleaning up anyone I can. Anyways, back to my force. So what have I been given for the attack? Well, cavalry, that's already been mentioned. I have a couple line infantry, so 2 right there, and then 1 highland infantry. I'm going to be sending 2 of my line infantry to back up my cavalry. It's a long march, however, but they're doing their best to catch up. Then over here, I've been given 2 artillery pieces, and as opposed to the Americans who have 4 guns per artillery kind of group, I only have 2, which is rather unfortunate. And it means I have to use, really tricky positions like this one where I'm only barely in range of one of his units in order to slowly start to chip away at his defenses. So I have one of those. I have another 6-pound horse artillery group, but I don't really know where I want to unlimber. Anywhere I go, I'm going to be fighting 4 batteries, so yeah, I'm staying out of range. I have 1 light infantry unit that I'm going to have to keep at a distance. It's going to be useful for picking off maybe some of these more exposed units, but yeah, it's going to be pretty hard. The rest of my force consists of 1 grenadiers unit. They come with grenades that you can throw that explode, and they can disrupt formations pretty well. And here's going to be basically 2 guard units, and then I believe it's a total of 3 Hessian line infantry. We can go ahead and look at the models on these guys. I really like the models of colonial era units. They look very cool. So anyways, I was able to track down his long riflemen here, and I'm scouting the woods, looking around for more targets. And I do see that there's a stake line here and more militia coming to reinforce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss one of my regiment of horse around this bend in the river, hoping there's no long riflemen maybe positioned here. What we're doing is we're going to go over in this position. I'm continuing to chase those guys. And then what's going to happen is more long rifles are actually going to be exposed. So now finally I know where these guys are at. They're going to try and pick off some of my guys, so they're going to save the rest of these long rifles as I start to pull back. So I'm going to get behind that hill. However, in doing so, they've kind of left the flank exposed, so they didn't actually see my guys going for the side attack. I'm going to charge right into these Minutemen before they're able to reload. So there we go, we're going to cut down that American banner, kill these traitors. The other Minutemen unit is trying to reform. The long rifles at the same time are trying to reform, but my guys are too quick for that. I'm going to get a clean volley on his guys. He has 80 men. And unfortunately, it only killed 4 guys in that first assault, and the other Minutemen are going to start to reform for another volley. And so I'm going to have to kind of ping-pong my forces back between volleys to keep either side from firing. And look at this, actually some of the horses charging with no riders, and I get another clean volley or clean charge on these guys before they can shoot at me. So I'm definitely holding on, waiting for more reinforcements. My guys, light dragoons, however, have been blocked from reinforcing this position because Minutemen are facing that way. So I take a couple volleys from his guys. He's at 75, and I get another nice clean volley on them. Clean charge. I don't know why I keep saying volley. But yeah, here goes another regiment of horse. So I have 2 of his militias tied down. However, his militia over there did break my guys, so it's going to be only a matter of time before he's going to be able to put shots on me here. So I was hoping to clean up these long riflemen, but they're not going down. I charged 2 cavalry units cleanly into him, and he seems to have only lost 11 men in this fight, and somehow is breaking my regiment of horse. So these guys are definitely trading very cost effectively, and the Minutemen in the back just waiting. So my light dragoons are going to pull back. Not much they can really do considering this is all tied up. Ideally, I would have had them, you know, maybe sent them up this way, but I committed to going around this side, and I couldn't quite reinforce that fight. Had I had them in the main area here waiting, then I could have shot these guys up, and that probably would have been better. And my line infantry are now slowly moving up into position. Back over here, not much is really going on. My artillery is continuing to shoot at his men from a distance, and you're going to see for the rest of the battle, they're not really going to be very good with their shots. I don't know why my artillery only have 2. I guess it's because they're like, oh, you can move your artillery around with horses, you can run really quick. Yeah, but I don't really care. Once I get there, I can't really do much damage. And so I'm going to be trying to, like I said, slowly pick apart his batteries. Meanwhile, those guys are continuing to put the shots on me. He doesn't really have the proper angle to hit me, but nonetheless, he's going to be firing tons of ammo over here. And there goes a volley. Not really going to hit anything. I'm going to be starting to prepare for a flank assault. I'm going to try and peel off men from this force. As you can see over here, he has a bunch of line infantry, but I'm hoping if I put enough pressure on that far side with my line infantry, I can pull guys away from this defense and then punch through. So that's why I have 2 guards unit going on the flank, and then also the 6-pounder horse artillery that I can hopefully position up here when the time is right and soften up that formation. Over here, these guys are going to continue to line up, and I'm basically just going to wait for my line infantry to get up there. And on this front, not much is going to happen. Let's go ahead and fast forward. Actually, let's put this on play. Here is again where I am unlucky. My opponent is actually going to start to turn and target my artillery over here. Just as I'm getting into position, I'm like, oh, okay, good. Let's unlimber. Let's get this done. And boom, there you go. He killed 1/4 of all my artillery in the battle with 1 lucky volley. Meanwhile, my guys have been here shooting the entire time at the Continental batteries, not hitting anything. I mean, look at this. I have 2 targets to hit, and they can't hit anything. Meanwhile, his guys, oh, they sort of throw 1 shot at me, and they kill my guys. So there goes my artillery. I'm not quite sure why this scenario gives you such crappy artillery. It makes it pretty hard, especially considering I'm going to have to break a fortified defensible position with 2 guys who can switch to canister shot once I get closer. Yeah, it's going to mean this is going to be a very, very tough fight. And so I'm glad I threw more units over to this side. I really need to break that approach. This is going to be nearly unbreakable with this amount of forces here. I'm going to threaten his Minutemen, who got a little bit too exposed. They pushed up the ravine to try and chase my light dragoons away. But with the arrival of my line infantry on the hill, somehow they got wind of that, and they're going to be falling back, trying to get back to the schoolhouses to the town where George Washington is. But take a look at what's coming in pursuit. So here comes, here come my cavalry. Look at the faces on these guys. You better run, bitch. And there we go, cleaning up basically a solid clump of the men right there. Taking him down to 45 men left. I'm going to continue the pursuit a little bit, but then I'm going to realize that, you know, he has cavalry back there, and I still don't really know where that other long rifle infantry unit went. It's still unaccounted for, so I don't want to get too close. I was hoping to get another volley off, but it looks like we're still reloading, so I can't push up once they're within the covering fire of the other Minutemen. I'm gonna have to wait for the line infantry to get here. You can go ahead and fast forward. Not too much is gonna happen on that front. I'm continuing to wait for the perfect time to approach. You can see my units in the far back. Line infantry are gonna start to push up. Over here, the front is quiet as I move my men up. But what I decided to do was pull up my light infantry to try and, you know, silence the guns, so to speak, by getting kind of up close and personal with these guys. And then I'm going to move in with my grenadiers to get some volleys, and it's actually going to break this artillery piece. Meanwhile, over here, I have my Highland infantry. I'm like, alright, you guys are next. My line of fire basically stops just like a couple feet short, and so I was super pissed. So you're going to see me try and shuffle these guys around. Same with those men over there. Basically, my enemy deployed just out of range of my guys, and no matter how many times I try and redeploy, I'm still out of range. The second I give up and move away, well then they're going to shoot me in the back. So I was like super pissed about the whole artillery deal here. You can see there's no real way for me to counter this. I can kind of pick off guys here, but I don't have my own artillery to counter, and any time I try and scoot up, well, I'm going to be denied. Meanwhile, over here, I'm going to try and move my light infantry into this position, just try and draw fire from my opponent, and maybe we'll see prepare for the main assault on this front. I'm going to start to move some forces up. We're going to shuffle them around. You notice that there's only 3 line infantry here now. My opponent actually drew back 3 of them to try and reinforce this position. I fell back sort of into the hill, wanted to be able to hold back in case he threw everything at me. I have the natural defenses of the cliffs on my right and sort of a valley on my left, and if I need to, I can fall back to the forest and deal with this mass. So I'm not super worried about these guys. I'm glad that he pulled off, a third of his defenses from this position. What I'm going to do now is start to scoot into the forest, and then I'm going to start to move my light infantry up even closer, and again, try and deal with these guys from up close and try and snipe his artillery before I even decide to move in, my guard units and stuff like that. He's not going to be in canister shot range. That's going to be grabbing groups of my men and just sending them to the afterlife. So very, very deadly to try and tango with these guys. My sharpshooters are going to start to take out some of the artillery crewmen. But the Continental Army is well drilled. They seem to be reloading very, very quickly on these artillery. Just carving chunks out of my guys. His own light infantry over there, 40 and 40, are going to be firing at my guys. There's a weird glitch with stakes, actually, where I think you can shoot through them. When you try and fire back, they will actually absorb a decent amount of bullets. So I'm going to be running to that reality pretty soon. So my Hessian line is getting, well, lined up. Gonna get their volley off. And it looks like actually most of that was broken by this little hill. The second volley is going to go through, and I didn't hit anything, again, because of this sort of glitch that they have here. Meanwhile, his shots, oh, don't worry about his shots. His shots will go straight through. So it seems like I am running against all kinds of problems in my assault. I'm forced to throw everything into this meat grinder. At least I took out one of his artillery batteries, so that's going to be to my advantage. But the more I delay, the more it means that he's going to be able to turn all these artillery to face me, especially with canister shot. Grenadiers are forming up here just to distract his men. They're going to start to shoot my guys, but I'm in thin line formation. I'm not too worried about being dispatched, and I didn't really want to use the Grenadiers in the main line. They don't serve that well as line infantry because they don't have that many guys. They're better used for close quarter combat or to throw their grenades, which you'll see me use actually pretty soon. You can see I'm not trading very well in these fights, despite having 4 different units there all firing. The density of his guys, the stakes, are actually working against me. I'm figuring, oh shit, if I just stand here, I'm going to actually get shot to pieces. The lucky artillery shots from here are going to start destroying my men. So what I'm going to be forced to do is actually go into close quarters combat. So you'll see me do that soon. The only thing I have sort of going for me is that he didn't pull any of those forces back to reinforce. But yeah, those canister shots doing work on my my Hessian line. Fast forward this a little bit. So yeah, a lot of artillery fire going in. Like I said, I'm going to try and get in close with my guys, taking as much fire as I can with sort of Highland infantry and other units like this that I'm not super worried about, because I've kept 2 of my guard units in the back. Those are going to be sort of my last reserve force that I need desperately, but I want to keep them out of the fight for now. Oh, look at that, cool, the reflection of the American flags right there. Anyways, my Highland infantry is going to charge right into these guys. You figure, if the bullets can't get through the stakes, well, at least my men can. I'll put this on pause. Just want to get a nice clean shot looking through here at the charge with the American flag. Or, no, Union Jack. And artillery in the distance. That's pretty cool. So I'm at least slowing his guys down, but it's not doing much to silence the artillery. I do have my Hessian line now going to be shooting this line infantry up. So slowly his guys are getting chipped away. My own guys over here I think are finally in range of his artillery, somehow able to just start nibbling at a couple of the artillery crew. But this is going to be good. The Grenadiers, like I said, do have the ability to throw grenades, so there they go, up and over. landing amongst his men. So he's going to get a volley off, and then he's going to get basically just destroyed. You can see there some guys grasping at their throats as shrapnel has cut it open. Captain is still alive though. But yeah, another flurry of grenades. That's going to break that unit. So maybe Grenadiers is exactly what I needed to break this position. Finally push out of this bottleneck. Now we're going to reform. I'm going to try and target those light infantry. Meanwhile, more of my reserves, Hessian line, and the remainder of these guys are still going to start to shoot out. I'm holding back my guards a little bit. I want to make sure I can silence those guns before we push up. More line infantry moving up. Can you imagine? These are only the 3. Can you imagine if he hadn't moved those line infantry away? He would have 3 full regiments to destroy my guys. There would have been no way for me to survive. Anyways, I think I got... Yep. Threw a volley into here. Didn't do that much damage, but it looks like it had a morale blow. So I might be able to break those guys. And I'm trying to sort of push these guys into the perfect position. I wanted them hidden behind the hill so I could toss grenades all day long. Kind of working. Looks like we actually killed the flag guy. I thought we already killed him. Weird. Maybe that's a different unit. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna now charge into close quarter combat just to try and clear the way for my guard units pretty soon. He's actually gonna charge down as well. Just try and greet my guys. So there you go. This is the moment where I want to engage with my guards pretty soon. I've got both units tied down. His guys are starting to sort of waver and perhaps rout. So my next goal is going to be actually the artillery up on the hill. I'm going to try and pull these guys away from the fight. Let's see who breaks first. I'm really hoping it's going to be his light infantry. There you go, they broke. My guys are still alive. They're still wavering, but I want to pull them out of the fight and charge into those guys. My guards are going to preemptively start to move forward. I'm going to spread them out, make sure they're in thin lines so I can move up. He has broken the remainder of my Hessian line, so I really need these guards in here. My guys here continue to do damage. And look at this, it's going to be a little weird. See, I have my guys charging up the hill. They have attack orders. And now observe. Observe. I'm not quite sure what kind of glitch that is. I couldn't really decide where to go, I guess. But yeah, them slowing down is going to cost more men as they continue to get volleys off. Oh, flat. Those guys didn't even appear. Their bodies just disintegrated with that point blank volley. That's what you get for kind of sitting there and doing double takes all day long. But yeah, it's going to be enough, hopefully, to break his artillery. So there you go. I finally cracked this position. All he has left is these 2 line infantry. And my guards are now going to move into position. Relatively confident in my ability to kill them. And the cool thing about these units here, the guards, is they fire by platoon. So it's a little bit of a different way of fighting. So when you have massed volleys like those, they pack a punch. But then in the in-between, you're left to reload and you don't really get any fire. These guys, however, can keep up continuous fire, which is really nice. It means you're going to chip away at your opponents, do a lot of damage to them while they're reloading, and as long as you can sustain, the punches of the 80 men volleys, you're gonna basically win out, because in between you're gonna be having more disciplined, accurate fire, picking apart the enemy force, and you can see that starting to take effect here. I mean, every volley I get, these guys are left reloading, and I'm just gonna chip away at this. More men going down. It looks like as my my fire goes up and down the line, it's going to take out more and more men here. He does, however, sacrifice one of his foot artillery into the mix. I form up in the square just to allow my rear ranks to shoot at his guys at the extremity. And there you go. It looks like it's working. Had I stayed in line formation, then his guys would have been tangled with mine, and he would have been doing more damage to me. So I figured square up, shoot them, and then reposition for the next part of the battle. Middle on the rear. Keep in mind you're not missing anything. He did move up some of his long riflemen, picked off a couple of my units, so I pulled back to the woods. Let's go back to the fight here. I'm gonna move up my light infantry first. I figure at this point they're they're depleted enough that I can't really use them for anything besides meat shields, so they're gonna be sent in first. Just so you can see, I'm sacrificing them up the front. They're gonna take the shots, and then I'm gonna move in with my guard units. So there you go, first volley taking out my light infantry. That's okay. It's going to clear the way for my guards. Good old meat shield. And there you go. Platoon fire doing its work. Come on. Anyways, my guys are continuing to move up. It's taking a while to close range. And just before they do, the enemy is going to actually get a volley off. That's, again, as I said, one of the downsides of platoon fire is if I were here, I would get a nice big volley against his men. But unfortunately, platoon fire is going to start down at the end. And he's going to get yet another volley against me. So, you know, every couple men that I lose is very, very costly to me. There you go. Look down the line. More of his guys getting picked off. Let's actually get a nice shot right here. And yep, you can see as the men at the end of the rank are done firing, the shots are going to rain in from this side. So look at this. Carving up the center. There you go. That is going to be the nice shots that I wanted. Meanwhile, the artillery is trying to shoot canister at me. I think effective range of canister kind of ends here. And so thankfully, he's not going to be able to land some shots into me. If he were, I would be absolutely destroyed. I mean, look at the angle of fire. That is how you get maximum efficiency with your shots. However, I'm going to scoot on out of range, pull my guys out of position so I can't continue to shoot me. Finally, after basically my entire army thrown into the mix, I'm breaking through this position, and now we're going to be closing in on his guys over here. So he's pulling back his cav. He has Light Dragoon Force and Light Dragoon Force. Only 20 of them apiece, so I'm not super worried about those guys. A little bit of the problem that I'm facing right now is I have my guards. I'm going to start to reform them to meet this cavalry charge. But when you have smaller numbers like this, you actually, at some point, at some critical number, you lose the ability to form up into square, which is not going to be good if I'm trying to take on cavalry. So I'm moving up slowly but surely. And another problem with platoon fire from guards is when you're shooting at cavalry, you want to fire in full volleys because you want to take out those cav. Otherwise, if you fire by platoon, by the time the second or third guy starts to shoot, the cavalry have already charged you. So it looks like he's going to be gearing up for a charge. I immediately tell my guys to halt. And like I was saying, if I had volley fire, oh, actually, it looks like I do get a volley fire. Nice. I don't know why. Maybe it does choose depending on your target who you're firing at. Now here you go. These guys are going to charge into me, and like I said, can't form up into the square, so he charges straight through to my men. I have 40 guys over on those guards units. Let's see, 42 here. Let's see how many I lose. Looks like over here I was more effective because my volley did more shots. So 42, didn't lose a single man in that charge. This guy was at 40 before, and I lost 9 men in that assault. So those cavalry are definitely paying for themselves. He wants to take out as many of my guards as possible to even up the odds when we finally do line infantry on line infantry fights. My own general actually was, he slipped through these defenses, ran around them, and actually charged the artillery. Didn't really take too many losses, just 3 losses traded for the artillery. So finally, all the artillery has been killed, and thankfully my opponent forgot to micro his line infantry, and so I'm going to have, free reign to pull my general through, and then engage those guys. Let's put this on fast forward. My opponent is continuing to forget about these guys, so I'm like, okay, I will take that. So I'm just going to move up behind them, start to get platoon fire. Actually, maybe when yeah, okay, we're still doing platoon fire. I was thinking maybe I lined fire when I don't have very many men, but nope, doesn't seem to be the case. Long rifles, still a threat. At least I know kind of where they are, and they took out 4 or 5 of my men in that volley, so I have to be careful. And then my general is going to do the rest, chasing off those line infantry, and then we're going to pull back, and I'm going to try and link up with my guys over there. We're going to form up. I don't want to meet this Minutemen straight up. I'm going to try and target this one more so, just because he has way less men than me. And there you go, I'm going to break that guy. So trying to be as cost effective as possible. And then my general is going to come in from the back. He's definitely the MVP of this fight, helping to break up that volley so they couldn't shoot me, allowing me to get volleys against his men. And then I'm going to clean up this force, allowing this line infantry unit to double team the Minutemen. So my general is doing a great job helping me break artillery units, break Minutemen, break all sorts of units right here. Definitely being a hero, which is more than can be said about George Washington, who this whole time has sat here kind of doing nothing. Looks like the volley is about to go in. Hit those guys with a full volley. and then I'm going to tell my guys to reform so there's no friendly fire, and we're going to charge these guys. So taking minimal losses in exchange for 2-minute men. However, we did lose a pretty solid clump of guys. I'm pulling up to the top of the hill with my guard units. I want to get the flank on his line infantry, and the long rifles are pulling back, so thank God. Let's fast forward through this. My opponent is going to start to garrison the house. At first I was like, oh shit, this is going to be impossible for me to kill. But as it turns out, when you have your guys on platoon fire, it means I get continuous volleys. Look at this, they're still shooting. His line infantry that would otherwise be shooting, 80 men apiece and tearing me apart, are forced to just fire out the windows, a couple at a time. And with my platoon fire, I have near continuous fire against a couple targets, and I can just destroy his guys right there. So that is going to be to my advantage. Meanwhile, militia is going to try and move up, or line infantry, and he takes a volley against me, takes heavy losses, and then pulls back. So I was pretty excited about this, and I forced his guys out of the house. I would gladly send in my guard units into the house. I feel like my guys with their smaller numbers could actually take advantage of the house, and I'm going to actually use it as cover, and maybe even try and shoot between the gaps of the houses, break up that formation. As his men try and reform, I'm going to scoot my ass behind the church here. I figured I was in cover, but actually a couple of them are going to be exposed. He's going to take advantage of that, and he's going to shoot straight into my men. So I'm going to lose a couple guys in this volley before I reform and get fully behind the church. Meanwhile, over here, we're going to be able to double fire his Minutemen. Destroy those guys. The next line infantry steps up to the bat. And I'm going to charge in with my guard units just to disrupt his formation, sending those guys into there, but the long rifles from a distance sniping my full force. I was hoping I would be able to throw them in there and disrupt his guys fully. That's not going to be the case, however. So slowly but surely I'm kind of chipping away at his guys, but he did take out a crucial component of mine, one of my guard units. Still at 14 men could be pretty useful. And now he's going to charge my units here. However, I have a really brave soldier who's going to hold out against basically an entire American group here. What is that, like 20 Americans against one British guy? So he MVP here. Meanwhile, my guys in the windows are going to be shooting, so he is a real hero here, holding out to the last man. A couple of the Americans are just going to charge straight into the house, probably get killed. Yeah, there you go, I killed them. So this guy definitely, like I said, being a hero. I'm going to pull in my general, and he's going to try and reinforce. I can't really give a charge order on people who are technically inside the house. So what I'm going to have to do is actually drag my forces through the enemy guys. So you can see me here trying to give move orders that'll... Oh, there's actually... I know, I thought those were riderless. I'm going to have to give move orders to try and drag my guys through the enemy forces to get them to commit. Meanwhile, I'm shooting up his square. So I'm doing pretty well. And here the hero is still engaged in the fight. My general is finally going to start to engage, but too late. They killed the hero. We're still going to cut down on his men. What does he have? 41 guys, and they're broken. So that general, as I said, being super cost effective, killing a lot of guys here. And there you go, they've been sent into a rout, and I still hold the schoolhouse. My guys are taking losses. That's not really due to the square. That's not firing at me. It's taking hits, and it's going to start to waver and break. It's because of the long rifles that are still harassing me from the back. And these long rifles, I'm pretty mad about them. Those are the long rifles who over here, I charged 2 full cavalry units into them, basically, and he killed me somehow. I figured, light infantry should lose to cav, but no, apparently that's not the case. So if I had been able to kill them, I probably could have tanked out this fight, being very slw and methodical about it, but they're going to be evening up the fight against me. So overall, a very close battle at this point. My guy's still hiding away in this in the town hall, actually, not the schoolhouse. And I decide, one more shot, let's give my general a chance. What I'm going to do is I'm going to charge him straight into this line infantry force. I'm going to try and break this unit. So I charge right into him, and he is shaken. So if I can break him, and if I can break this guy as it charges into the house, I should be good. And you can see he's starting to waver. So had this long rifleman not been here, I could have turned these guys about, got into the house, broken these guys. I could have maybe won, but these long rifles continue to do damage. And I tried to pull back my general to intercept his guys as they go in the house, but they're actually going to break my men. He has 37 to my 13, and then this unit here is going to charge after my general, and he's actually going to be killed. So there you go, the end of my forces. Nonetheless, fighting to the last, fighting bravely. But yeah, George Washington, as always, or is he watching from a distance, not doing anything? So history books were a lie, not a glorious general, nonetheless, but he still pulled off a victory. I'm not quite sure how you're supposed to beat this battle, as the British, historically they did, but I mean, I have 875 men, he outnumbers me, plus he has 2 long rifleman units that can outrange and outskirmish me. He has 4 artillery batteries in a good defensive position by a choke point, plus he has the advantage of having 4 cannons per unit as opposed to my 2, and somehow they fire better than mine. So overall, very tough battle, but I think I squeaked it out, you know, pretty close as I could be expected to do so. And let's sort this by kills. Guard units definitely coming in clutch at the end. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.